Thank you all for coming, and I promise that I'm better on experience mods than I am on IT things here. So as you all know then, the experience mod is actually a benchmark tool, or it's actually a way, I call it a safety rating, that you are compared to your competitors. So industries that are very similar to you with your locations, your size, your payroll codes, things like that. And as you all know, it plays a pivotal role in your costs. If your mod is over one, you're going to pay a penalty and pay more money on your premium. If it's under one, you're going to get a nice discount off your premium. So our goal is to be under one. All right, and this is just a nice illustration to show you, for example, if your work comp manual premium was $100,000 a year, and your mod was 1.25, you would have an increase of $25,000 penalty, right? Because your mod is 25 points above one. On the same token, if you're below one, you're going to get a nice discount. So if your manual premium is the 100,000, but your mod is 80, you're going to be saving $20,000. So it really is very important then, how do we help you control your experience mod? And we are really the experience mod experts. I love to show this slide. This is the actual algebraic calculation that the actuaries use in figuring out what your experience mod rate is. And if you take a look at this, it's a little overwhelming. You really do have to be an algebra expert, right? And one of the things that I love to say is, do you realize that these actuaries probably have never been on a job site, right? They've never been on a roof, they've never been on a construction site, they've never worked in a hotel or in healthcare. But yet they have a lot of control over what you are paying on your premium. So I do like to point that out. We used to have to do this manually. I'm so thankful that we have software now that can help us with all of this. The first thing that we do at the Mahoney Group is we want to get a handle on what is your mod doing in comparing to your competitors. And so the first analysis we run is that comparison. The green bars show what your actual experience is on the claims. The gold is what the actuaries feel you should have when they are comparing you to the competitors. So as you can see on this, the 3 years that are always on your mod, the 2 years are good. The person, our entity on this was actually lower. But the last year we had a large increase. And so then what we would do is we want to do a deeper dive and say, okay, let's start really analyzing. We know how you compare to your competitors, but let's start really drilling down and analyzing you. And did you all realize that workers' comp isn't really true insurance like you would buy for your home or auto, but it's more of a financial mechanism where you are really paying back every claim that you have over a 3-year period? I like to then figure out what is the lowest mod that you can have. And a lot of times you think, well, if I'm under one, that's great. But you can actually be lower than one. And if you look on my screen here, we have this entity we have is actually could have a minimum of 66. So there's 37 points on this mod that we can help our client reduce and save money. I then even do a deeper dive, and I have 26 points of that 37 that I can help them reduce by primary losses or frequency or the number, and then 11 points, which is the severity or the dollar. So this is something that we do right away when we start working with one of our clients, because I want to know exactly how much we can help them control. Okay. One of the other things that I mentioned about the 3 years, but your information is the past, right? And so it's really important to stay on top of all of this from the very beginning, from the first moment that you have a claim, and then understand a little bit about what the mod does. We're the experts. We would help you. We would be your back room and supporting you. but there's some key things that we're going to talk about that you can do to help reduce it. So when we talk about the split point or the primary loss, the split point really is um, measuring your frequency, okay? And that really is the most important thing to measure is the frequency. That increases your experience mod more. So another wonderful thing for if you're in Arizona, if you're in New Mexico, maybe not so wonderful, is that starting this year in 2024, for the first time ever, NCCI started having the split point be dependent upon the experience of the state. Forever and ever, every state had the same exact split point. It was universal at 18,500. But starting this year, again, depending on how your state is performing, you may get a nice little reduction. And so in Arizona, you can see that it's actually $2,000 less. So the first 16,500 of a claim is going to impact your frequency. In New Mexico, on the other hand, it's as high as 26,000. So this is information that's good to know, and it will be adjusted every year going forward now. The severity then, which is the dollars, is interesting as well. That has always been different by the state. But I did also want to have that on here to tell you what the loss limits are for the states that we're in. Arizona's loss limit is 150,000. So that means if you have a severe claim and say it was a $300,000 claim, only $150,000 of that claim is going to go into your experience mod calculation. So I just like to have that up there to illustrate that. Again, the large losses don't impact your experience mod as much as the frequency or the split point losses. So one of the other things that we have helped our clients with is we have found that if your mod is 1 or over, that it may, depending on your industry, um, have some issues with then you trying to get a contract or continue to have a contract at renewal. And one of the things that we have done is we are really good at analyzing your losses, working with you to figure out why it happened, what you've done, or what we can help you do to prevent it from happening. Run the information through our software and be able to show, had that loss not happened, here's what the experience mod would be. And we've been very successful in our clients being able to still keep the contract or win the new contracts. As long as the entity that you're bidding on understands that you have engaged very seriously, you take safety very seriously. Here's what you've done to prevent that from happening again. We have found this to be very successful. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to talk about, all right, Mary, you showed us what a mod is and what we maybe can control, but how? How are we going to control this? And I love this little illustration of the chess pieces. Not that I'm a great chess player, but this is exactly how I feel every day in workers' comp is which way am I moving? What's going on the board? So we're going to talk about now on this next section that safety and loss control need to be a top priority and that it is worth the investment to allocate funds to prevent injuries from happening and also to implement safety programs that are directly going to impact the losses that are actually driving your experience mod. A lot of our clients will say, well, we are following all the OSHA guidelines, but if you really do an in-depth analysis, a lot of the claims really don't have anything to do with the OSHA requirements and training and such. It's people not following safety procedures, not having the correct PPE, maybe taking shortcuts, things like that. So that's really key in helping control and even preventing the loss, right? You'll hear me say throughout this, the best loss is no loss. So we want to help you reduce the frequency of incidents. That's the number of claims. And we want to ensure that your loss information on your experience mod and your loss runs is correct. We find, unfortunately, quite often that the NCCI mods are incorrect and also that other people's claims do show up on your loss runs. So these are imperative things to be checking to make sure that your mod is accurate and has your information only. And then also with the claims management, when a claim happens, manage it right from the very beginning properly so that it has the lowest impact on your mod possible. One of the wonderful things that we help with is we help maintain communication with the adjusters and proactive, therefore helping them, not hindering them. Many of you may be finding that the adjusters are overwhelmed and not responsive. And we've kind of created our own problem on the insurance carrier side, where a lot of the carriers eliminated the training and bringing new people in and training them to be adjusters. And a lot of the adjusters are retiring. And all of a sudden, we have a like a 0% unemployment rate for work comp adjusters. So we actually help at Mahoney. We help our clients and we help the carriers, and we make sure that the communication is going. They have what they need. How can we help them manage your claim? We also review your experience mod for accuracy, as I talked about earlier. And then we also do your valuation review. I don't know if any of you have ever heard that term valuation, but we want to make sure that before your next mod is going to be calculated, that we have corrected any errors, and that if a claim is open, can we get the reserves reduced or can we get it closed before the next mod calculation? So we help you have your best possible mod. All right, now we're going to talk about my favorite thing, and that is claims. And I know some of you are thinking, well, Mary's kind of crazy, but I'm not. I've been tested and I'm not crazy, but there really is, it is really a worthwhile job for me to help on claims. Now, of course, the best kind of claim is no claim, or what we would call an incident only. And that is really nice where we can help the employee. They tell us right away, oh, I'm having this discomfort, and we address it with self-care and then follow up with them to make sure that they're still doing okay and don't need medical care. No money is paid on that, and it is not an official claim. The next best claim to have is a medical only. And the reason we love medical only is the majority of the states, and Arizona is one of them that participates in this. If you can keep a claim a medical only, you're going to get a 70% discount off of that claim value before it goes into the mod calculation. And a medical only claim means that there's no lost time, that the insurance company hasn't paid even one penny for lost time benefits. The most unfortunate kind of claim to have is the indemnity or lost time. That goes into your mod calculation at 100%. And all the studies have shown that an employee that isn't working in some capacity has higher medical bills, and the cost of the claims are way, way, way increased. So again, this is where we help and work with you and deploy all of our services to try and keep your claims incident only or medical only if possible. This is just an illustration for you. If you see, the incident only doesn't cost anything, so it doesn't impact the mod and doesn't even show up or go on the mod. The medical only, I have an example. If we had a $2,000 medical bill and we got the 70% discount off of that, you're only having 30% impacting your mod. But unfortunately, if you have an indemnity claim with the $2,000 medical and only 100 has been paid and lost time benefits, the whole 2,100 goes into the mod calculation. So again, it is in everyone's best interest, including your employees' health, to be returning to work in some fashion. And again, we will help, and I'll go through some other tools and ways that we help with that. The most important thing is to make sure that you've already established a medical clinic relationship, and that we love it to be occupational health, but we know in some areas of the states they may not have a lot of options, but we still would help you establish that medical clinic relationship. It's very important for you all to have that relationship with a clinic where you're going to send your injured employees. The clinics will have everything set up. They'll know who the carrier is, they'll know who the contact is at your organization, and they'll understand that you do have light duty available so that they won't take people automatically off work. We want it to be your decision whether or not that employee returns to work. We also would help provide that clinic with your job descriptions so that they have a clear understanding of what your employee is required to do. If you asked me to go in and tell a doctor how much I have to lift during the day, I don't know that I would give accurate information. So the job descriptions play a very important role so that the provider really knows truly what the employee physical um, requirements of the job are. We also provide lists of light duty jobs so that they can see we have sedentary and light and medium jobs, and we help you establish those as well. You can tour the facility. The provider can come and tour your facility or job site if you wish. And then we always make sure that you have annual training with your employees and new hire training to let them know, you know what, we have this clinic. This is where we have it all set up so things go really smooth for you and you're going to get the best medical care immediately. And also set the stage so that they also know you're going to try to accommodate restrictions, which is wonderful. I love helping people get back to work. So, when an injury happens, we have a 24-hour response, 24/7, 365 nights, holidays, weekend. And we are saving our clients an average of 29% cost on every claim by getting that claim reported right away. And all of the studies that the different insurance companies that specialize in work comp have done, it really is an average of 29% if you can get the claim reported right away. You don't have the employees wondering if they're going to lose their job and maybe they get an attorney. You don't have the doctors not knowing who is going to pay or not understanding that it's work comp, taking people off work and maybe scheduling unnecessary tests. We have a 24/7, 365 nurse triage line that provides immediate medical care to your employees. We help take care of them initially first. And then once our nurse has taken care of your employee and they've been educated in self care or they're on their way to the facility, our nurse sets up that appointment, faxes a workability. Once your employee is taken care of, our nurse then completes that first report of injury form for you, and we are available to help with accident investigation. So, again, you have a lot on your plate, and who is doing all of this? But it's very key to do this right from the very beginning so that you capture that 29%. This is Mary's favorite slide. I work as hard at keeping your employees working as your employees, some of your employees may work at not having to work. And we have some really nice tools and vendors that we work with if you absolutely can't accommodate. We have a volunteer return to work program, which is wonderful. We have a return to work kit that has the sample return to work policy and sample job offers and everything like that. So, again, we do all the heavy lifting and really want to help keep your employee working. So, number one, it is really wonderful for your employee. They recover quicker and have a much better experience, and also saving you time and money. All right, so I saved the most important slide for last. Be sure that your work comp classification codes on your experience mod are correct. If your experience mod codes are wrong, it could artificially be inflating your experience mod. And we do have from time to time employers saying, well, this code is a cheaper rate. I want to use this code. But when we do our analysis, we find out that that code actually is wrong. And even though you may be paying a lower rate, it has artificially increased your experience mod and actually is costing you more.